Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a mystery thriller film named Searching. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with an Asian couple, David and his wife, who are settled in California with a lovely daughter named Margot. Since her birth, David has been in the habit of recording their simple yet happy life in video logs. His computer documents contain countless memories of Margot's growth, her first day at kindergarten, her first piano lesson, her entrance to elementary school, and their shared love for Pokemon. But one day, the mother was diagnosed with lymphoma, casting a shadow over their once happy family. Without time for sorrow, they started a cancer-fighting exercise plan. As Margot grew older, her mother's condition worsened. In the end, the father and daughter lost the most important person in their lives, and their past happiness turned into deep pain. But life doesn't stop for grief, and Margot entered high school. After her mother's death, she rarely communicated with her father. On a Thursday afternoon, David called Margot on a video call, as she had forgotten to take out the trash. David jokingly scolded her, but Margot was at a friend's house attending a biology study group. David wanted Margot to come home for dinner, but she said the experiment might last all night. He wanted to ask about her exam results, but she quickly hung up the phone. Next, David received a video call from his brother, Peter, who was trying to make pickled okra soup, and asked David for the recipe. David immediately noticed some illegal substance on Peter's table, and after a few perfunctory words, Peter hid it secretly. Late at night, the colorful screensaver danced on David's computer as Margot suddenly called. After 2 missed calls, she sent a video request, but David was sound asleep and didn't hear the ringtone. The next morning, David saw the missed calls and quickly sent a FaceTime request, but Margot didn't answer. David left her a message, thinking she had come home the night before, since she left her computer at home. However, by 3:30 in the afternoon, he had received no response from his daughter and began to worry. He remembered that it was Friday, the day Margot had piano lessons. He found the piano teacher's phone number in his email and called, only to be told that Margot had canceled her piano lessons 6 months ago. David felt something was off, as Margot had been asking him for piano lesson fees every week. Knowing that Margot was lying, David was confused and contacted his brother Peter for help. Peter urged him not to worry, suggesting that perhaps Margot was just having fun with her friends. When she was in school, she had once disappeared for a day to watch some hockey team's finals, hiding it from her parents. So he advised David to call Margot's friends for the situation. David searched through his daughter's social media accounts, only to find that all the content was set to private. He then realized that he didn't know any of her friends. David then thought of his wife and found an old contact list on their computer. He discovered a boy who was known as Margot's best friend throughout her growth. David learned from the boy's mother that the children had gone camping together and might have poor signal in the mountains. She promised that her son would call David when they returned the next day. However, the following day, the boy revealed that Margot hadn't gone camping with them. It was then that David realized the severity of the situation and quickly called the police. After a tense wait, a female police officer named Vic contacted him. She was assigned to handle Margot's disappearance. As David answered the phone, he quickly checked Officer Vic's credentials. Vic asked him to provide as much information as possible about his daughter and her friends. David remembered the notebook Margot had left behind, containing her social media accounts, but he didn't know the password. He managed to recover the password through email and successfully logged into Facebook. On Margot's Facebook page, there were over 200 friends. David contacted each one to inquire about his daughter, but they all claimed they didn't know her well, as she was always solitary. When he asked a female classmate who had worked on an experiment with Margot the previous night, she said she had only collaborated with her for academic purposes. She only knew that Margot liked to browse a website called Tumblr and nothing more. Upon opening it, David saw the gloomy and solitary-themed photos his daughter had posted. At that moment, David received a video message from Officer Vic. It was footage from before Margot's disappearance. She had filled up her car with gas and then vanished. David found this unbelievable, as it was unlike anything his daughter would do. Margot's bank records showed that she had saved the money meant for piano lessons. However, 6 days prior, she had transferred $2,500 to an account that was later closed. As time went on, Officer Vic called again to inform him of the preliminary investigation results. Margot had forged documents to withdraw the $2,500 and transferred the money to another account to avoid being traced. She had likely run away from home. David couldn't accept this conclusion because on the night of the incident, Margot had called him 3 times late at night. After hanging up, he continued searching through her social media accounts for clues. He noticed the live streaming platform that she often visited and found that she had a close relationship with an online friend named Fish and Chips. Fish and Chips, who claimed to be named Hannah, was a student and waitress. Her mother suffered from cancer, and she worked until her mother left the hospital. David provided this lead to Officer Vic, but after her investigation, it turned out that Hannah had been working at a restaurant the night of the incident. David felt both frustrated and confused, realizing that he didn't understand his daughter at all. Officer Vic comforted him, saying that her son, Robert, often caused her trouble as well. Even though she thought he wouldn't do certain things, in reality he did. Thus, the parents can't always fully understand their own child. After the conversation, David suddenly noticed the lake his daughter often visited, a place he praised as the most suitable for idling away time. After searching on the map, he was shocked to discover that it was only a 5-minute drive from where his daughter went missing. He set off immediately, and at 4:30 a.m., he called Officer Vic. He had found his daughter's keychain by the lake, giving him an ominous feeling. The next day, after a tense search operation, Margot's car was pulled out of the water. There was no one in the car, but a small amount of blood was found on the passenger seat, and the case was classified as a kidnapping. The top priority now was to find Margot's whereabouts. After media reports, the police organized volunteers for a thorough search. Officer Vic ruled out some impossible search areas, but the search still came up empty. However, the $2,500 was found on the driver's seat, and the media began to think Officer Vic's suggestion was reasonable that Margot might have run away from home. This stirred up public opinion, and the focus shifted to David. The public generally believed that the root of the problem lay within the family, and it was parental failure that led to the tragedy. Some even analyzed and listed 21 reasons why David might have killed his daughter. The free speech internet had become an unrestrained swamp, and those who claimed not to be close to Margot began to take advantage of the situation for likes. A boy even claimed online that Margot was working as a prostitute and that the remittances were her cut for a pimp. David endured these baseless speculations until he couldn't take it anymore, and he confronted the boy. A conflict broke out between the two, and David injured the boy, but got hurt himself. The altercation was captured on video and posted online. Officer Vic used the assault incident as a reason to bar David from participating in the investigation. As the two argued, Robert burst into the room, and Vic quickly sent her son away. The assault incident was hotly debated online, and people believed that Margot couldn't possibly be alive. David even received an email from a funeral company, but he believed that his daughter was still alive. Subsequently, while reviewing the crime scene photos, he discovered a clue. A hockey jersey appeared in the driver's seat, and his brother Peter was a hockey fan. He randomly opened the chat history between his daughter and Peter. It turns out Margot met Peter almost every night, and Margot even said that if her father finds out, he'll definitely kill her. The next day, after installing cameras in his home, David invited Peter over. Facing David's questions, Peter was evasive. As David read aloud the text messages one by one, Peter fell silent. David asked him what he had done to Margot, and Peter inadvertently denied it. In anger, David lunged at Peter and choked him. Seeing that he could no longer hide the truth, Peter had to confess that their chat was all about the illegal substance, and Margot obtained it from him. David scolded Peter for not being worthy of being his brother, but Peter said he wasn't a qualified father. Margot didn't attend piano lessons because seeing the piano reminded her of her mother. Since her mother's death, David had never actively communicated with his daughter. At this moment, David received an urgent call from Officer Vic and collapsed on the floor, crying. The next day, the media released shocking news. An ex-convict had recorded a confession video, admitting that he had killed Margot. The man had a criminal record of sexual assault and drug possession, and had ended his own life after recording the video. Subsequently, Officer Vic held a press conference. Based on the video content, the police found a man's DNA by the lake, proving the video's authenticity. Officer Vic announced that Margot had been killed, and the murderer had killed himself out of fear. The case was closed because of that. David was heartbroken and found it hard to accept the truth. Then, he opened his daughter's computer and found the painting she had drawn for him on Father's Day, praising him as the best dad. David was moved by the memory and felt that he wasn't a qualified father. He then deleted the video and sent his daughter's video footage to the funeral service company. After uploading the footage, he saw a familiar face on the company's promotional page. After comparing, he confirmed that the woman in the photo was Fish and Chips that he saw earlier. Upon further searching, he discovered that the woman was just an advertising model, and her photo had been stolen and misused by Fish and Chips. However, the identity of the person named Fish and Chips remained a mystery. David felt that something was fishy and tried to contact Officer Vic, but he couldn't get through. From the operator, he learned that Vic had volunteered to take on his case, which was completely different from what she had initially claimed. David became suspicious and revisited Officer Vic's homepage, where he discovered a terrifying truth. The man who had recorded the confession video appeared beside Officer Vic. David immediately contacted the Deputy Chief of Police and rushed to his daughter's funeral site. Not long after, Officer Vic was arrested, and the truth finally came to light. It turned out that Vic's son, Robert, was the one behind Fish and Chip's profile, and the photo was one he had misused. Robert and Margot were classmates, and he had harbored a crush on her since elementary school. After seeing Margot on the live streaming site, he fabricated a similar background to gain her trust. They became online friends until Margot sent him all her tuition savings. Feeling guilty, Robert decided to confess to her, but worried about her reaction. He followed her to the lakeside and saw her smoking in the car. In a daze, Margot screamed in a chicken voice and attacked Robert when he entered the car. She then ran away while calling her father for help. Robert caught up with her and tried to explain, but she kept struggling and hitting him. In the process, he accidentally pushed her into the ravine. Panicked, Robert called his mother. The ravine was deep and narrow, and Officer Vic believed Margot was certainly dead. To protect her son, Officer Vic staged the accidental murder. To end the investigation, she also bribed the ex-convict with drugs. When the police asked her if the man had really killed himself, Officer Vic emotionlessly said that Robert is her son and she is willing to do anything for him. Based on Vic's information, the police and rescue personnel rushed to the scene that Margot was pushed into. It had rained 2 days before, which might have helped Margot survive these 5 days. When the rescue team finally lifted Margot onto a stretcher and slowly pulled her up, David rushed to his daughter's side. After several days of treatment, Margot gradually recovered. She applied for piano lessons again, and the father and daughter finally reconciled and put their past behind them. David told Margot that he and her mother were proud of her. Just before shutting down her computer, Margot set the desktop wallpaper to a photo of her and her father. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.